Welcome everyone, and we are going to be covering today the topic of simplification, something which sounds very simple in words, but when you have to do it over the board, um, tends to be quite a complex operation. So we'll kick it with some positions. One thing about technique that I don't want to say is I don't want to treat a position like it's simple. The moment you say that, you just involve yourself in potential problems that could become very difficult to resolve. So yeah, I won't say this position is simple. I'm just gonna say it's it's a position. So let's start with this one. Um, what's your experience with the idea of simplification?
For example, sometimes it looks like an easy simplification, but later on down the line, you tend to find out that there's actually more complexities in the position. So it's like you're saying, where you're treating it as though it's very simple, instead of trying to break it down into what actually the position demands.
Aha, that's true. So you see this position in front of us?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So in a practical game, you're faced with this position. And when you look at it, you've clearly got more pawns, you've got more active pieces, um, you have some stuff to keep an eye on, but overall, everything is looking good in your from your point of view. This is the kind of positions that I'm talking about. They're very easy to mess up. And after the game, you'll be like, oh, I knew I was winning, but I don't know where I went wrong. So this is the kind of position I want us to look at. So what would be your ideas in general from this point of view?
So for me, firstly, I would try and, I'm just imagining a position where all of these major pieces are off. White would clearly win it. So my overall objective would be to try and exchange as many pieces as I can. But at the same time, there's also that long diagonal, the A1 H8 diagonal that the black queen sits on, with that mate on B2. So yeah, I would have to be very careful in what we're doing.
Yeah. Okay, so what would be the move here?
I first looked at rook D8.
Okay.
I'm wondering, rook e8, that's right, but I'm wondering if you shouldn't first move your queen out of the way and try and attack the queen by moving the d1 rook to d6.
Okay. So in your mind, I mean, when you attack it,
Oh no,
uh, what do you see?
I'm playing now with rook takes f7.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
feel like I'm losing there.
Yeah, I guess the question to ask is like why you're clearly better, right? This is something also that's very important to understand. Uh, Technique, when it comes to technique, we are talking about degrees. There are many degrees of winning, and in sharp positions, you have one narrow way of winning. In positions which require technique, you have various ways of winning. And often, these positions you get to them when you have a little bit of time trouble. So, if you make the position very sharp, it's much easy to also make a mistake. So, if it's if you have time to actually calculate clearly that rook f7 works, by all means go for it. But okay, let's say rook f7, rook f7. That's just piece gone. And if it's not clear for you
The
that you
problem there is it's not clearly winning.
it's not clearly winning. Yeah. So that means that maybe you're on the wrong path, especially if you are already, hey, Aldo, welcome. So especially if you know, like you're looking for a good simple way to actually win this position. This is a position you must win. And Lilita was right. I mean, here rook takes rook to d8 simplifies the position. And the reason why you're not worried about this mate is because you are coming in forceful. Right?
Okay.
And this is very important. So, okay, you can't ignore because you're going to force it anyway. So he has to take on d8 and queen takes d8
Queen captures.
with check.
Yeah.
Queen takes and rook takes d8 check.
Then black is shit. No, it's not.
King h7, right? Okay. And king h7 is
Then
good.
immediately c4.
I would play king c1 here instead of c4 because I'm scared of rook e1 check.
Hello? I lost everyone there.
Yeah, it is slow, but it is more clear cut.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So here, what do we do?
Rook c8.
Rook c8, protecting the pawn. And at the same time, it's a perfect time to protect the pawn because he also doesn't have a check, a tempo gaining move coming to c6, to the c file, right?
Yeah.
And it's sometimes a blessing for us. Of course, c7 would have lost to c6 check. So here he goes.
The f-file is very scary, isn't it? No. What would happen if you started pushing immediately there with the f-file? How do you stop that f-file board?
I mean, your first part is just go b4, b5.
Protect that and then move the rook behind the f-file.
Yeah. Even if you don't move the rook to the f-file, the king is extra security. It only needs to move twice to get to the f-file, right?
Okay.
So rook e6, we pretty much carry out the same plan. Rook b5. Pawn b4. And then he goes g5. What do we do here?
I would think of taking. I don't want to let it take back. Yeah.
G5. Then we just go b5. And okay, he goes g4.
C7 now.
Yeah, but b6 is just winning. Behind.
Of course, because it goes behind it.
But isn't b6 slower because after b6 we go g3.
G3. Okay. Pawn push.
And then g2.
G2. Check.
Yes, I was waiting for that too.
It's
Yeah.
that check. It's that check. Even when you go to g7, rook g8, same story.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So.
Because in my mind I thought let's play c7. If he pushes the pawn, then I'm playing the same idea, rook h8.
Yeah. That also works. Yeah. But I guess, like as I said earlier, there's a myth sometimes with technique that people assume like, okay, there's only one way of winning. There's multiple ways, and usually during a game, that's what you're weighing. Like, I could do this, and I could do that, and I could do this, and I could do that, and you're constantly weighing these things. The thing I think which is misleading is when you hear like an analyst or a grandmaster speaking afterwards, and they speak of it as if like they had seen everything, the whole truth about a position, and you're thinking, oh, I must be completely dumb to not have seen it. But actually, the truth is there were various ways of getting there.
Ruben, in this position, what happens if rook e2 check followed by rook b2?
Well, okay, so in after b7, where we are,
After e7, rook e2 check.
rook e2 check, and
The idea is to play rook b2 and then g2.
rook b2.
Yeah. So your king would just go to no, that's wrong, because then you're losing.
Wow.
Rook b2
Because rook b2, yeah.
Promote.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because the rook will just come to b1 and then collect this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next position.
It looks like a Indian defense.
Yeah. King's Indian defense, which hasn't succeeded. I know that feeling. You worked hard to get here, and now you know. Like, the painful part about this kind of openings, you're losing. It's gonna take time.
Yeah.
And you just hope your opponent's technique is terrible.
So is it white to play in this position?
Yeah, white to play. Lisa, would you like to give it a try? Ah, there she is. I thought she wasn't there. Oh, her mic is muted. I hope she knows. Okay, what would you try here?
Rook a8 is my initial, my first thing. So that we can get access to the d6 pawn. Any checks that the black queen may have, I just play king d3 and I'm safe.
I would prefer first giving check, yeah. And I'll tell you what, I like the a8 idea, rook a8 idea, but your big problem is two things. The first one is the bishop on f7 or f8. And your other problem is obviously the rook that can go and stand in front of the g file. So my first feeling was to try and trade off the queen with some shenanigans like queen h1, but I think you would rather try and check if bishop blocks. Obviously, you've got either the pawn you can pick up, or you can go rook a8. There's too many permutations here. Give me a second.
Actually, that's what I wanted to say. That the most difficult positions are the ones where the winning side has got many ways to play it, right? But the priority always remains, you need to simplify. You're clearly better. And one thing I can see is like you haven't identified what your advantages are, yet you're looking for moves, right?
Yes.
You want to pin this bishop, but this is a horrible piece. So a strong player will be thinking, I've got a better knight and he's got a terrible bishop. If we go to an ending where I have to fight this knight against that bishop, I'm clearly gonna win.
No.
You see what I'm saying? So a strong player would not be trying to pin this bishop to win it or anything like that. You'll be trying to think like, okay, how do I get to that ending where this knight fights against that bishop? Because for white, there's so many entry points. This bishop finds it very hard to play in this position because the pawns block it.
Sorry, Ruben.
Yeah.
I think Lisa was. It happened when you guys were both speaking at the same time. I don't know if Ara could hear that.
Actually, didn't hear.
Yeah. I heard him. I heard both of you. That's why I mentioned it.
Wow, I wonder how that is so.
Even now, I can still hear both of you, but Ruben can't hear you and you can't hear Ruben.
Okay, let's refresh our screens. I'm gonna refresh my screen. Okay. Lisa, can you hear me?
But Ruben, her idea was Rook A7.
Oh, her idea was Rook A7. Okay, so that move kind of gives initiative to black, right? With these checks.
I think one of you has to probably refresh the page because both of you are speaking at the same. I don't know if Ari, can you hear the same thing?
Yeah, and Lisa, your as Ruben stated, your mic is phenomenal. You are clearly. But the idea that Lisa was talking about was Rook A7 trade off, right? Ruben, I like the idea of the queen over the H2 shenanigans, but I don't see a follow up for the queen after after King D3.
Okay. Okay, so let's say Rook A7.
But now the knight is on the side, which is shut, and this we don't want.
Yeah. But actually, what I was talking is like this kind of position.
No, just knight B5 again, blocking that. What is it? Only kings and bishops are.
Correct, yeah. And I think this could be another option, but there's an easier option. Let's put it like that for white.
Yeah.
The most active piece for black is this queen. So as a priority, if you could get it off the board.
Okay, great.
Exactly, yeah. And this also does not sort of instead of disregarding the fact that also people, if you play the optimum move, your peers will make mistakes.
The thing that I like here, if you do force the trade or try and push the trade, is you are overly activating your rook.
Also,
I know it's active on the A file,
exactly,
but it's much more potent on the G and H file after you've traded off.
Correct, yes. And here, of course, black made it easy by taking. So let's look at the option of going Queen F6. And now you've made the queen less active. You go for this rook with Rook A7. And let's say he doesn't want that. We go Queen H3. Now we've got this idea of queen check, and white is clearly better.
I'm even thinking in that position after that Queen E6 and the exchange of queens, your knight could reroute itself to D5.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, it's just over for black.
Yeah. So again, just good technique. But of course, we get to see this version where he deliberately does it because maybe he doesn't really fully understand that he's moving himself closer to a loss. And here it's very difficult for him to activate this rook because of the strength of this knight. And the bishop, to a certain extent, is tied to the defense of the d6 pawn.
Yeah.
So he goes bishop e7.
It will take forever.
Now, white's rook, one way or the other, is just going to dominate. If he had played rook g7, for instance, then you can just play king f2, and the rook is going to activate this way. Right?
Are we not scared of
Bishop e7.
the idea of bishop e7 going to h4?
Yeah,
Or
but
yeah.
Well, why would you want to go all the way back to the A file to activate that rook and not just move up to h6, putting pressure on the d6 pawn?
no, but again, part of technique is not rushing, right? Let's say he goes bishop e7 here. You can just simply go rook here. And the d pawn is, when you play check, you're going to have to come back and attend to the d pawn.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. Like whichever way you look at it, it's not a trick. You are trying to you're winning by force. It's just not dramatic. That's all. So okay, rook h, bishop e7 is what was played, and now he goes back to rook a1. So this is maybe rook goes to d7. Maybe he wants to put this bishop here. So we go check. King comes up. And now rook c8. So you can see.
I see. Blocking with it.
Yeah, he goes bishop d8. Rook c6. And now king e7. What do you do?
King f2.
I think any move, right?
Yeah, any move. Yeah. Almost in Zugzwang, yeah.
It's complete Zugzwang.
Yeah.
He loses because he must move. And this is difficult to see for lower rated players. This it's like a nothing move.
No, just a waiting move.
Yeah. So in technical positions, the one or the first kind of basic you need to adopt is, if you can, trade queens. That's the first one.
Yeah.
Lisa, can you hear me now?
Yes. It was quite funny.
Back like the phoenix.
I was wondering why you're not talking. Why everyone else talking? Is it a new way of coaching or what?
Yeah. Just ignoring you.
Yeah. And all the highlight on the board, and it's like, what's going on here? Missing something, you know?
That would be a practical joke that Ari would be probably heard.
No, I'm in trouble.
Now,
And it was quite annoying because I log on with my phone and it keeps going, the screen keeps closing by itself.
oh, I see.
Oh, that's so annoying. Anyway, I'm on my laptop now.
Yeah.
My speaker's
Perfect. Yeah.
better. Much better.
Yeah. So the reason why you trade queens in most of these technical positions is because the queen counterattacks a lot. So when you trade it off, you reduce what your opponent can do, and you don't have to calculate so much. Because remember, when you had the queen, we had to now figure out, what if the queen comes this side, is it a threat, and so on. So once you get it off the board, or you reduce its activity, it considerably increases the various ways in which you can increase your advantage. So that's really why in most of these positions you find that you have to just exchange queens. Okay. Okay, next one. Did you think it would be that simple to convert that game from where it started?
No. Mm-mm.
It's never like that, right? Okay, so this is our next position. It's black to move. Okay, so this one is black to move. So black is a pawn up, and black has a good reason to expect to win. But first he must deal with this pin on the d-file. For instance, if you take on f4, there's knight e2. And the knight falls.
But
there is just a pawn push.
Which one?
E4.
E4.
B4. E4. So for me, my reason for b4 is to invite that knight to go to e2 because I'm going to play knight b5 and exchange my pieces in that way. My king is going to get to the pawn on e5 if white ever takes it.
Okay, I mean, I like the fact that you're arguing about this because it really just highlights again the first thing which we mentioned at the beginning, right? That in technical positions, there's different ways you could do it. There's almost like gradients, different gradients. Now, the thing is this: the best way will be faster. The worst way will just take longer. And between these two moves that you both mentioned, one is the best way, the other one is the worst way. But they all win. They all win.
I understand why it's before though. I do understand. Trying to take away the defender, which is the knight.
No, still disagree.
I understand what he said. Well, I want the e4 actually. I want the e4.
Okay, so let's look at e4 first. It's not the best. It's not the best, I'm gonna say up front. E4 wins.
You are wrong.
Queen e3. Queen e3.
I can't see that now.
Now queen f6. Our process is we're gonna clear the d-file and we're gonna exchange as much as we can. And then our next move is knight here. And in this way, we'll probably win in about 30 moves. It will take us 30 moves. Yes?
But why not first threaten that queen with a knight? So instead of after q3, right?
Yeah.
You go knight c2.
I agree with you that one. Yes.
Okay.
I'm playing rook takes d6. Rook takes your queen on d6 then.
My queen isn't on d6.
What is it again? Ruben?
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, then you take back. Then you take rook takes rook. Rook takes rook.
Knight takes.
Mine's moving now. Oh gosh.
let's go back. Let's go back. So someone
Queen goes e3.
conclusively You can join. You can join us if you want. You're saying queen what? Queen e3?
Okay, so after queen e3,
Mm-hmm.
then you go knight d knight c2.
You're going to lose.
You're
a
going
piece
to
with
lose a
queen.
piece.
Queen for queen.
Because rook takes
Yeah, but just
queen.
do it quickly.
Queen for queen. There you go.
Okay, rook takes
Now
rook.
you're gonna lose your rook.
Take rook. Okay.
Then I move my queen away
Okay.
to
Where?
a7 check.
Or even a7 check. I mean, it's just a piece, right?
A7 check, and then I'm playing pawn to h6 to give space for my king.
Yeah. I mean,
So
pawn
you are your king. The thing here is, you still have the knight on c3 to stop the back rank knight.
I knew that's what you were sneaking on, trying to do. Yes.
Well, listen, if I'm going to find a sneaky tactic, I'm going to try.
But now,
Gameplay doesn't go forward as well.
yeah. But let me now tell you what the fundamental problem is. You're not treating the position like it's an end game. You're treating it like it's a middle game, and that's a mistake a lot of people make. Is they try to play it like it's a middle game. It's not. And if you're content with that, then you don't have to. Shopping World Cup. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about winning now. You just choose the best way. And with this e4, again, you go here, knight comes to e6, you trade rooks, and you win in the next 30 moves or so. You'll be fine. So let's look at b4. Okay, let's look at b4. Okay.
No, that was a good call, dude. That b4 move.
Yeah. So knight e2. And now,
No pressure now.
what do we do?
Knight b5.
Knight to b5. The priority remains the same, just like in all the positions that we've looked at. Now it's white who is the problem with the file, right? Because now he can't go queen c2, or because the knight is not on its proper state. Even if you look at Ari's dubious combination, like from the chop shop, it didn't work because this knight was on c3. So after b4, this is such a beautiful position for this knight. After this, a lot of things don't work for white. So he has to go back. So queen takes d6 first, rook takes d6. Now, you have another challenge, which is that...
Pawn takes. Oh, no, that doesn't work. But
yeah, the challenge is if you can't ignore this exchange, because in so many ways there is, you could pay for it. You could just create a pass pawn, or even take, or you could even start with rook d2 and then take. You see, again, by doing the right thing, his options increased. So white takes on d6, knight takes on d6.
White takes the best move here.
Yeah, that's what I was explaining.
But I understand that you're explaining. But I kind of feel like white shouldn't take because he's down in material.
Of course, but it's worse. What can he do?
I don't know.
So what I was saying is that let's say he goes rook d1.
Yeah.
And you go rook d2 first. Now the knight has to fall back. And you're gonna take on f4. You're attacking b2. You're gonna, you see, it doesn't get easier.
No, it's not that good.
Yeah. So I'm sure it wasn't a pleasant decision to make.
No, of course not.
Rook takes d6, knight takes d6, and he takes on e5. And now, knight to c4. This pawn is as good as dead.
Yeah.
So he goes b3. Knight takes on e5. So now, you've got a nice position where you are up a pawn. Now, these endings, Budvinnik used to say they are like pawn endings. You just think of them like you're thinking of pawn endings. and play them accordingly.
Isn't the idea for black here just to plant his knight on d3 and then bring his king into the game? And if the white knight ever moves, we have knight c1.
Of course, yeah. So black obviously wants to prevent that. I mean, white wants to prevent black from doing that. And what you're saying is not a joke. And this is what's good about knowing these kind of things. Let's say the king goes king g1. Now knight d3 is very strong. The king cannot come into the game. At the same time, the knight cannot leave e2, because once you play knight here, you're winning this pawn.
While you're losing your knight.
Yeah. It could come to g3 early. But it would be dead anyway. It wouldn't be doing anything. So here, knight f... Oh, sorry, going back. So that's why he goes knight f4. Okay, he goes a5. h4. And king goes to f6.
Is there a particular reason why black didn't try and go for h6, g5?
Well, I think I know what that is. So in endgames, you want to avoid exchanging pawns. Especially this kind of endings. Because at the end, he could just sacrifice his knight for the last pawn.
Yeah.
And you've got a draw. So you want to avoid trading pawns. There's no need to hurry. So he goes king f6. Again, the plan is very simple. First of all, he has to tie up the pieces on the king side and then move to the queen side and take those pawns. So king goes to g1. Knight goes to g4. He's creating a path for his king. Knight goes to d3. If he had gone king f1, king e5, knight d3 check, king d4, king e2, and now knight e5. Again, you treat it like a pawn ending. The pawn endings are gonna always lose here for white. So he has to avoid the exchange. And after king c3, it's just lost. So activating the king doesn't really help here. That's why he goes knight d3 to restrict the king. In this position, he, number one, stops king e5. At the same time, he kind of discourages you from playing king e6 because it comes with check. And is attacking your queenside pawns, right? Now, what is the one characteristic of pawn endings that is predominant in your decision making in pawn endings?
Is it how close the pawn is to promotion?
No, like I remember one of my earliest coaches teaching me that pawn endings are about pure calculation.
Yeah.
Not just like I feel like. So you could see this idea that I go king e6, he goes for this, and you could you sort of like drop the idea based on that. And here, black defies that because he feels that it's actually winning anyway. He calculates. So knight c5 check, and now he goes king d6. Okay. So here he sees a way of reaching a pawn ending. Knight b7 check. And here, before I tell you the move, let's go back a little bit. If white tries knight d3, we go king d5. This is almost like our gradual way of winning, which we were going to do anyway, right?
Yeah.
He goes king f1 and knight e3 check. King f2, we have to keep in contact with the pawn. Knight d1 check, and we're getting here very fast. Right? Because after knight check, if he goes here, we do it with check again. He really doesn't want that. So he has to go king f3, knight c3, knight c1, protecting the pawn. And here, what do we do?
Knight takes a. Hold on, I'm just calculating the knight takes a2 variation. Not working. Yeah.
Yeah, no need to calculate it. It doesn't work. It's not enough. Because he can also become active. But simply king d4. The same way you've been playing, it's working. He's slowly getting into Zugzwang. So for instance, let's say he goes here. You can always play h6.
So this was my question now. Why not go h6 before you move the king?
Whoa, this is
h6 is.
yeah. This is actually.
My feeling is h6 is rustig.
This is actually probably more limiting. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Again, back to what we were saying. There's options of moves, and yeah, it could have been playable. But here, okay, it's winning. But let's go back to this position where instead of going knight d3, he goes knight b7 check. Right?
Yeah.
What do you do?
King d5.
King d5.
Okay, it's not king d5.
But king c5.
You can't go to c5 because of the knight.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
I hear you giggling, Lisa.
Why not king d5?
Oh, this is a very nice move. That's all. This.
King c7.
Very good, yeah. King c7. It's a very clever move. So he takes.
So you're limiting the knight. Okay.
Yeah.
Knight mobility.
What I thought was great was that White resigned after King c7, which is something we would never do.
No.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight. I will fight this one out. I will walk out with my nose bleeding, no problem. I will no chance.
Is it because of knight e5 here?
Exactly. It's because of
knight e5, and then you're going to play king b6.
And the knight is.
And the king is too far to come protect his pawns on the queen side.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's say king f1. King b6. So knight.
What idea? What idea?
And then he takes.
King c5.
Exactly. Yeah. King e2. King c4. So even if you manage to stop him,
you've got your queen side, your king side pawns.
Exactly. Now that h6 you were talking about, Ari.
No, you just buy h6. You light a cigarette.
You see.
Naughty.
Sure.
So again, again,
Very question.
we go back to this idea that in these technical positions, removing the queen makes your job much easier. But in a way, you also have to get into the frame of mind that this is gonna be a graft. It's not gonna be a quick thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you think, Ruben, the reason that this idea went was maybe because White had, I think many of us are guilty of this, but you are in a certain end game that has minor pieces and you overlook the power of getting into a king and pawn end game.
Yeah, of course, yeah, absolutely. And because it's a different metric, right, that you use to measure that position.
Yeah.
I missed you guys out. We're on a new puzzle.
Eh?
Are we on a new puzzle?
It's a new position. Yeah, it's a new position. Yeah. It's not a puzzle. But
It is a puzzle.
It is a puzzle. Don't you even start. It's 100% puzzle. There's a year I think it is fairly straightforward with
Queen C8.
you see the problem with Queen C8 is he's going to check first
With what?
with his rook.
No, he's
No,
going to
he's
take
going to take your rook.
And
Then you're right. So Queen C8 is fine.
also chopping.
But if you take back with your rook, it doesn't force the queen trade,
but
but it does give you the open file. So I suppose that's a solid one. Because I'm thinking that you I don't know. No.
One thing I can tell you now, right? Every swap that you make in these kind of positions is gonna make your position easier.
So
there's like
I didn't hear you.
I didn't hear you now. You guys were talking at the same time. I couldn't hear you. Just say again.
So there's some people that we can't hear here. So I think it's time to refresh our screens. Tell everyone that we must refresh our screens.
Okay, guys. So Ruben's asking just for everybody to refresh their screen.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we've got this position now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, let's see if Lilita can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Lilita's mic is still muted.
Ari, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. Wait a second, Ruben.
Yes, I can hear
Can
you.
you not hear Lilito?
I can only Lisa is the only person I cannot hear. Her mic is muted.
Yeah, Ruben, you must also refresh your page.
I did. I was the first one.
But yeah, so all of us can hear Lilito, but Lilito can't hear Ruben.
Okay, I'm gonna reload.
Okay.
Okay.
Ah.
Yeah, now I can hear you. Lilita, can you hear me? Oh, Lisa, I can hear you, but I can't hear Ari now.
I can hear everyone.
Oh, okay.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Now, Ari.
Ruben,
Ruben is back.
Yeah, Ruben is back. He can hear me. So
Let's.
I'm not sure if he can hear
Ari needs to refresh his.
I, you,
Yeah, no, that, come on.
I did, Ari.
Ari, just refresh your page.
When you refresh, Ari, it with I don't know with your laptop, and mine it gave me the option of leave page or stay on page. I clicked on the leave page, and then I then came back again.
So Chopin, after you told him that you were my son, he stopped bothering
We're
you.
waiting for you. We're waiting for you, Ari.
Chopin, was the name Nika side of the person who was bothering you? It says not joined yet.
Ruben, I'm going to have to.
Oh, you have to go soon, eh?
Yeah.
What time is it now? Oh, yeah.
Us now.
You're almost there. Yeah, it's all right. Thank you so much for joining us. And
I'll still be following on YouTube or on Facebook.
yeah, we have Ari and Lisa. These two are a handful. So
Which one, Handful?
the other one is quiet handful. The other one is loud handful.
That's why we get along so well with Ari.
I'm sorry that I'm so loud.
Ari, that's why we got along so well.
Can everybody hear each other now?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
Okay, Lilita, see you.
Now.
Alright, cheers.
Lilita has to go to the
It's
airport.
on now.
Yeah, is to go to the airport. In quotation marks.
Okay.
In quotation marks. Okay, so this position is not different from the ones we were looking at. And
Yeah.
and the thing is, you just have to imagine the pawn structure. And hey, great, welcome. The pawn structure, like without pieces, who's winning? Who's better? And you start your process. That's why Ari's move is actually quite correct, the idea of Queen C8, because it starts this process which we were talking about
Yeah.
of removing pieces of the board. So in the game, Black played Queen C8, but okay, during the game you have to calculate how to meet Rook D1. What do you do here?
Sorry. Okay.
You're
Okay.
okay.
You take rook takes rook.
Yeah, Rook takes D1, Queen takes C8, and Knight takes C8.
Knight takes.
And here, White is already close to winning. Because again, we see this scenario of the bishop, bad bishop against good knight. And you've got these options of check. So this would be a dream position. Let's say bishop f6, covering d8. And we've got knight d6. And if he goes rook d7,
Yeah. Then you just go check.
yeah, you can go check.
Ruben, man, I do
Oh,
like the idea.
You can actually go king g4 here. It's much better.
Yeah,
Because that blocks the bishop in.
Yeah, plus you're coming in also into the position. If he goes bishop e7,
Then you just push the c pawn.
yeah. So this should be an easy position to convert. So okay. So that's why after rook d1 he went for queen c8. Now knight c8.
Knight catches.
And now he gets to put this rook fd7. What do we do here? It's a critical position also.
Okay, so here I think you go. You've got that. Okay, I would go. Rook takes bishop. Check.
Ari.
What about if the king take the rook? Ari? The king can take. I was thinking about that too, but the king will take the rook. Then what?
But why?
Wait, but here you should just not be in a musari and just move back.
Where?
E2, King E2.
But
I see.
But what if he goes f3 check?
No, I'm not quite sure what I would do there.
Yeah. So you've lost a piece.
So
I think chopping is good. Is correct.
Let me figure this out. No. Check. Doesn't work. Bang, 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 and doesn't work. Fuck me, I don't know.
Okay, again, you know what really surprises me is that you forget the words. You want to simplify.
But we discussed that one and it doesn't work.
Why?
So you exchange.
Because you are allowing the open bar and you're allowing for the passport.
Oh, hang on.
So if he takes D,
Then
positionally, black is much better.
No. You're giving white also 2 pass points for 1 pass point.
I understand.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've got a fuck ton of momentum. How do you stop that? If you just start chasing it. So he takes D, then
King takes
King takes F, then D3, then
Rook D1.
what? King E3, I would suppose.
No, Rook
Because
D1.
you don't want to block your rook in.
No, just Rook D1.
So it blocks the rook in. The rook loses value if it's in front of.
Nah, but you're gonna win this rook. This pawn, sorry.
So
It will eventually be lost. So yeah, in that sense, it's not really with he has to take with the rook. He has to take.
And then you got check.
Yeah, and then now you go knight check. He goes king f8.
F5.
then you go F5.
Yeah.
Then he goes check.
Rook d3 check.
You go E2.
King e2. And he goes rook d7.
Then you go rook D. What's it? Rook D1.
Then here you need to calculate. I mean, the first thing again is, remember, it's like just about a gradient of different winning ideas. So the first and obvious one is, if you can go to a pawn ending that you know is winning, then you go to a pawn ending which you know is winning. Because what's the point? Because you see what I'm saying? If you could brute force calculate this position to see if you could convert this to a win, then you brute force calculate it, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Bet Whisper, welcome. How are you? Oh, that's the point, right? If we know it's winning, then we go to it. If we don't know it's not winning, then we don't go to it. But this is the, as a technician, you have to be able to do this.
Hmm. Is everyone still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be on your own.
Just when Ari's quiet and then I'm worried, Ari.
Bet Whisper says the pawn ending must be good for white after he fixes the weakness on b7. That's correct, yes. So we need to get into this ending. Rook g7, rook takes, knight takes, king takes. And this is where it really counts to have spent time on your pawn endings.
Looks better, yeah, but ending the king.
So, what's our next move?
C5.
Okay, so in endings, if you've got two moves, one which is committal and one which is flexible, which one do you start with? Hey Carl, how are you? And welcome.
I would assume the one that's flexible, Ruben.
Right? So c5 is permanent.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right?
So would you rather than suggest something like king d3? Oh no, wait, you can also go a4.
Okay. Now a move like a4 in endings like this is not a good idea because you could be bound by one move like a5.
What about the king f3?
That's correct. King f3. So let's say king f6. We go king g4,
King g4.
king g6, and now we use that move, that extra move that we have. Because here black runs out of moves.
No.
Yeah.
So let's say a5, a3, king f6, and we go king h5.
Yeah.
Why?
Why not just go
b4?
Again, in endings, we are trying to not exchange pawns.
Not the pawns.
Yeah.
Pawn.
So after king h5, he has to go king f7, and we go king g5.
Only go in g5. King g5.
Yeah.
Yes, king e6, and we go king g6.
Now you're just blocking him in basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Now this is
You're gonna take the e5 pawn with the king. I understand.
in the game. It didn't go like this.
No.
After king f3, he didn't go there. He went king g6.
King g6.
And white went king g4,
Okay.
and he went c5.
that's no problem.
That's no problem. You go a3 and you wait.
Yeah, go a3. Very good. I like to see you playing calm moves like this, Ari. b6.
Oh.
What do you do now? What do you do here?
Yeah. Oh no, you still have time. So you just go. You go f3.
a4.
Why
Why a4 and not f3?
You're keeping this one for key moments.
Oh, as a last.
Yeah. Because it also gives you some space for the king and so on. So you keep it.
That a4. I'm scared for because this means your b pawn will never be able to break.
Well, so will his.
No, a4 is make more sense then.
Okay. So he goes a5. And now you use the last bullet F3.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
King
now you
F6.
have
And now you have
Very
king.
nice. Very nice.
Exactly.
Ending game, right?
Ending game, right?
Yep.
Very nice.
Very nice.
I mean,
what's that?
what's that? That was
Eight
eight
steps
steps
in.
in, so it's not impossible to calculate, even in mid game.
Yeah. So you could actually just do this.
Oh, see.
So yeah, there goes simplifying how to. So our next one, when we meet next, I think on Thursday. Oh, today's Thursday.
Today is Thursday.
Okay, so tomorrow, Friday, we normally have this one where we go, it's just training. What we will cover then is when simplifying boomerangs, like when it backfires.
Oh.
Yeah. So we'll start from there. But okay, how was this?
Very
Very exciting.
It's really now. I understand why people can play this for days.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It's
Ruben,
Yeah.
at what point between, because it is clear that I am continuing mid-game trains of thoughts into my in-game,
Yeah.
and I'm not definitively identifying when is an in-game and in-game. What are the markers that I should be looking for where I should change my train of thought to in-game rather than mid-game?
Well, there's various answers I could give you. They would tell you what they thought, right? And then if you had your idea of what you think it was, they would say, go and stand in that corner for an hour. And then they would ask you an hour later what you thought. And if you thought the same, you'd stay in that corner. So you'd quickly change your viewpoint about positions. Is Ari still with us? Lisa, are you there? I think I lost this, guys. It's time to reload. Hello, Ari? Hello, Ari, can you hear me? I have to tell them to refresh also. Let's wait for them to come back. I don't know why it does this, but it works. Let's see. We do one stream on Monday, we do another stream on Thursday, and then we do another.
Okay, we're back. Sorry, we lost you both at the same time.
Yeah, no, I got you. Okay, so yeah, we do one on Monday, one on Thursday, one on Friday. And Chopin is like there all the time. Chopin and Grey Old Wizard, they're always there. Ari, are you back? Ari?
Hi, I'm
Okay.
back.
Okay, good. Lisa, did you tell Lisa to...
She's refreshing now.
Okay, good. Yeah, so, okay. So, Ari, to answer your question, so there's one of them is just discipline yourself as a player, because I'm sure you can tell when it's an end game. You know what I'm saying?
No, but this is exactly the problem. Is I don't see when the markers are when it is now considered to be an in-game.
Okay, so one of the books which goes into depth about defining what an endgame is the endgame series from Agathe. There's various ways. Now, when your king becomes active in a position, that position is usually an endgame. And when you like, that's usually the best marker is when you have to improve your king position to when your king becomes active. There's less pieces. you're not playing for checkmate anymore. That is very important.
Yes.
And of course, the more games you see, and what you are studying specifically is to see when the play shifts from trying to force checkmate to trying to exploit advantages, right? So
Basically just yeah.
Yeah. And if I can tell you, it would probably take you a month to sort of get that out of your system. The other cause for that is if you spend time with players who have got bad habits and you play with them and you play like that, all of you, and this happens a lot with blitz players, then you don't change because every day you are blitzing and you are reinforcing existing bad habits. So that would need to change. I mean, improving is easy once you set your mind to it and you're willing to do everything that's required for you to improve. And when one of the things which makes it hard nowadays for most people to improve is they play a lot of blitz. Now, blitz is played on intuition. Now, because it's played, because it's played on intuition, every time you play, you reinforce your existing algorithm of making decisions.
Yeah.
And if that algorithm is bad, what it does is it nullifies anything that you've learned in the past week because it just puts back.
I have a question about blitz.
Yeah.
I teach a lot of young players, very young, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the very beginners. I'm not allowed them to play blitz because the whole idea is to slow them down because they intend to.
May I say something out of my complete ignorance here? And I don't know the experience that you guys have.
Yeah, but my next question is when is you should, because sometimes there is a good exercise is in the when you're playing with the time you have few minutes left or something. Sometimes I feel like the student needed to have that kind of practice to be observing the board in such a short time, and I think the blitz can help.
So
But then I don't have that some indication when is it the good time to say I think you are ready to play blitz. But I know the very beginners, no. For me, you can correct me there if I'm wrong.
No. So I think if it's mixed with a fair dosage of long games, there's nothing wrong with blitz. But there's something that I was taught, which was that you play blitz like this. You say, I'm going to play blitz for the next hour. And my objective in playing blitz is I want to test my openings. That's fine.
Yes.
That's fine. And or you say, my objective in blitz is I want to test how I'm responding in endgames. So with each blitz session, you have an objective you want to accomplish. So in that way, it becomes a learning tool. And if you are playing long games, you're already testing yourself. Let's say weekends you're playing a tournament. And then in between the week, you're playing your blitz games. You're playing long games and a fair amount of blitz. That's all right. That's healthy. There's nothing wrong with blitz. It's the obsession of I'm going to play blitz until I'm so tired and I'm going to sleep. And then when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to play some more blitz. And then when I'm tired, I'm going to stop. There's no plan there. So when you do it like that, you don't benefit from the process. So it's just defining what you're doing and not reinforcing. Because a guy who plays blitz today wakes up tomorrow, plays some more blitz, expecting to be better than he was yesterday. It's not good.
But I did find blitz, especially 3-0s and 3-2s, helpful when I studied things like the poke defense and, where there are very specific. So if you play tournament and you only play a blitz tournament and you only play this response, then you see the stronger players, how they react, and you kind of start understanding a pattern in the opening, which I suppose you can study as well, but some people don't do the study thing well.
Yeah.
So
No,
So
true.
there was the value for me in Blitz.
No,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. After you learn an opening, it's good to go and okay, say for the next hour I'm gonna be testing the Queen's Gambit Declined, and you test it out, and you see what, and you come back to the learning material and go, okay, people were playing this and I didn't know how to deal with it. Now you go back, right, and then you make it a priority for you that every day you play 2 games that are much longer time control. One with black, one with white. Now you're actually putting yourself to practice. So that approach it's different, and it doesn't matter. Even kids can play chess. Kids enjoy blitz, but
Yeah, they do.
yeah,
They
as
do.
long as it's not the only thing that they're doing, and as long as they are playing long games too.
But I do understand the issue because I mean, when I started playing chess now, what's it now, 5 years ago, in the beginning, even a 10-minute game, I was like, no, I don't have what I'm going to sit here for 20 minutes looking at a board. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Now it's fun. So you basically you also train how to keep your concentration for longer. But now it is, I think the more you play chess, the more you realize how quickly that time actually does go by. The moment you get a real conundrum on the board. I don't know.
yeah. But there's another side to it. Is that at the beginning you thought you were spending a lot of time because you didn't have anything to think about. So once you spend time learning about weaknesses and control of open files in a game, now you've stuff to ponder about. So you start using a little bit more time. Your decisions are much better, of course. But I see it a lot with beginner kids. And you say, okay, don't rush to make a move. But he's got nothing to think about. So he makes the next move.
Yeah.
But once you teach him about, okay, you need to look for checks, now he's going to spend some time looking for checks. He's going to spend some time looking for captures, and he's going to spend some time looking for threats. The move is not as sudden as it was before. So now he has to apply some thought. So, of course, yes, the more you know, that's why, it's like, you see it with inexperienced drivers, for instance. They do the most risky things. Whereas an experienced driver will be like, no, I wouldn't do that, because of experience. So on the board, you see the same stuff. Like a strong player will play a certain move, but having thought for a while. A weaker player will play it quickly, not having considered anything. So there is that too.
Thanks very much for your time, Ruben. So next lesson, right?
So we do one on Friday evening. We do the other one on Monday. So the Monday one is usually like seconds to disaster. So we look at disastrous games that end very quickly and why. The today one we look at more strategy and how to improve more in detail. And then the tomorrow one is usually just a training one. And we've been looking at technique the past couple of weeks. So tomorrow we're going to look at how when simplifying backfires and maybe some stuff.
What time?
Yeah, 9 is usually good because we've kind of finished all our work and
Okay.
and we can hang with like-minded people.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. If everyone who was here actually is a pivotal key person in my life, and you back up stuff that I do, so I really appreciate. And I haven't actually had enough time. Ari is staying closer to me. I haven't even had a chance to go and see him. So
No, it's crazy, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much, Ari and Lilita. He went to the quote-unquote airport. But okay.
Hello. Good evening, Papa.
Cheers.
Guys,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
be good, Ari.
And you. Bye.
Bye-bye, guys. We are in the chat. Thank you, Greywood. Thank you, Chopin. Betruspa. Welcome. And I will